What's up, everybody? This is Dre Chili coming back to you guys once again. I'm making this video to go ahead and explain to everybody that there is no money, and the sooner everybody can get that through their heads, I personally believe the better off we'll be. There hasn't been any money since June 5th, 1933, and the reason why there hasn't been any money since 1933 is because everything in the public is bankrupt. They deal in nothing but public debt instruments, and it's privately owned scripted paper that we think is money. It's not money. It's a promise. It's a promissory note. It's a promise to pay. But you can't pay a debt with a promise to pay the debt with a debt note. That doesn't make any sense. So I wanted to go ahead and show you guys the current national debt, which if you look to the top left right here in this video, U.S. national debt. This is the national public debt outstanding, represents the face amount of, or principal amount of marketable and non-marketable securities currently outstanding. This is $19 trillion, $964,228,000,000. The average debt per corporate citizen owes is about $61,350. And you guys can see the debt per taxpayer as well. So the more and more you look into this, the more and more you'll see that we've all been had, because when you go to the Department of Treasury's website right here, it tells you the legal tender status. Let me show you guys my proof of claim, because I get a lot of trolls that like to say that, well, this isn't an actual website. This is the U.S. Department of Treasury's website. They're telling you right here. What are Federal Reserve notes? How are they different from the United States notes? Federal Reserve notes are legal tender currency notes. The 12th Federal Reserve banks issue them into circulation pursuant to the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, a commercial bank belonging to the Federal Reserve System. By the way, I'm going to add that is strictly private. The United States government has no jurisdiction or no authority over the Federal Reserve System. It says Federal Reserve System can obtain Federal Reserve notes from the Federal Reserve banks in its district whenever it wishes. It must pay them in full dollar for dollar by drawing down its account within its district Federal Reserve Bank. Let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit, because I get a lot of people that always ask whether or not Federal Reserve notes are redeemable in gold. Federal Reserve notes are not, let's highlight that, not redeemable in gold, silver, or any other commodity. So this is here, right here in the United States Constitution. This is already in conflict of interest, or in conflict of law, so they say, right here. Article 1, Section 10. It says, no state shall enter any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, or make anything but gold and silver coin and tender for payment of debts. So why the fuck are we going around paying so-called alleged debts using some shit that's not even redeemable in gold? Now this shit is supposed to be the law. I'm not making this up. I'm taking you guys to the actual website right here. Federal Reserve notes are not redeemable in gold, silver, or any other commodity, and receive no backing by anything. This has been the case since 1933. I told you guys June 5th, 1933. The notes have no value for themselves, but what they will buy. In another sense, because they are legal tender, Federal Reserve notes are backed by all goods and services of the economy, which is total bullshit, because we all know that whenever the international bankers are pissed off, they can inflate or deflate the volume in which they choose to print out Federal Reserve notes. This is the law. I'm not making this up. Now, what is an obligation? Because I'm going to take you guys back to the debt clock. And it talks about all of this is considered obligations. All of it. Everything you guys see on here is considered obligations. This is the population. This is the workforce. Official, unemployed. I don't even want to. It's crazy. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the bankruptcies. Prison inmates. Look at the prison inmate total. Look at this shit. I'm not making this up. This is their clock machine. This is their debt clock. Now, let's talk about the obligations. What is an obligation of the United States? Hypothecation of United States bonds or other securities which Federal Reserve banks are authorized to hold, to buy, sell at home, abroad, bonds, notes of the United States, bills, notes, revenue bonds. The United States doesn't have their own notes anymore. And warrants with maturity from date of purchase not exceeding 6 months, issued in anticipation of collection of taxes. The IRS is simply the public accountants for the International Monetary Fund, which is basically the host of international bankers. And warrants with maturity from the purchase dates of not exceeding 6 months, issued in anticipation of the collection of taxes or in anticipation of receipt of assured revenues by any state, county, district, political subdivision, municipality in the continental United States, including irrigation, drainage, reclamation districts. Such purchases to be made in accordance with the rules and regulations prescribed by the Federal Reserve Board. So basically, they're telling you guys who's really running the show. Check this out. Actually, just reading that first time myself. This is section 411, where it talks about the Federal Reserve notes. The note issues. Federal Reserve notes to be issued at the discretion of the Federal Reserve Board for the purpose of making advances to Federal Reserve banks through the Federal Reserve agents and hereinafter set forth and are for no other purpose are hereby authorized. So we're not even supposed to be using this shit. Shout out to True Free, man. He hit me to this. The said notes shall be obligations of the United States and shall be receivable by national and member banks of the Federal Reserve banks and for all taxes, customs, and other public dues. And they shall be redeemed in gold on demand at the Department of Treasury of the United States. Now, I just showed you guys. If you take your silly ass up to these windows at the Department of Treasury, they're going to tell you Federal Reserve notes are not redeemable in gold, silver, or any other commodity. Now, I made a mistake. I told you guys obligations defined. This is not obligations defined, but let me go ahead and finish reading this. I'm going to show you guys what is the United States obligation. They shall be redeemed in gold on demand at the Treasury Department of the United States in the city of Washington, District of Columbia, or in gold or lawful money at any Federal Reserve bank. Any Federal Reserve bank may make application to the local Federal Reserve agent for such amount of the Federal Reserve notes hereinbefore, provided as it may require. Now, let's take a look at United States obligations defined. Obligation or other security of the United States. The term obligation or security of the United States includes all bonds. Remember, I told you, the birth certificate is a bond. It also can be considered a certificate of indebtedness. National bank currency, Federal Reserve notes, Federal Reserve bank notes, coupons, United States notes, Treasury notes, gold certificates, silver certificates, fractional notes, certificates of deposit, bills, checks, drafts for money drawn upon authorized officers of the United States, stamps. And I want to say this is why you guys are getting y'all ass steamrolled, because you cannot create your own promissory notes unless you are a secured party creditor to the actual corporation. This is why y'all getting y'all ass bust up. Or any other representatives of value or whatever denomination issued under an act of Congress and canceled United States stamps. A vessel, because remember everything is under maritime admiralty law. Vessel of the United States defined. The term vessel of the United States as used in its title means a vessel that all cap letters name as a vessel belonging to in whole or in part of the United States, to the United States or any citizen thereof or any corporation created by or under the laws of the United States or any state or territory, district, or possession thereof.